Hi, Living the Good Life here with another video about some of my collection and a find for the past week. I want to go ahead and start out with my find, and that would be this RS Prussia plate. It is in the California Poppy. That is these apricot and white poppy design. And as you can see, it was $25. I'm going to take it off the stand so you can go ahead and get a better look at it. It has this, normally I'd say reticulated, but it's this open work here on the side. Kind of these scrolls around the edge. And on the back, it has the RS Prussia mark. And again, that was $25. That was a estate sale, and I was so worried about getting down there about 2 hours after it opened, and nobody else must be looking for RS Prussia in my town, so didn't have any competition for it. And for $25, it was a nice addition to my collection. Wanted to show you that I have another item in the California Poppy. This is from my current collection, and it has the same poppy design, but you'll see it's in a different mold. This is a cup. It's also marked RS Prussia, and you have to be careful because there are faked marks out there, so I would recommend getting some of the books that are available either through the library or through purchase and study up on it before you decide to buy. Things are a lot cheaper now. I bought this cup on its own without a saucer back in the 90s, and I think it was still about $40. Very expensive back then. So, but wanted to show you that. Here are a couple of other things since I'm on this side of the table that I got. This is probably one of the oldest items in my collection, and if you look, you can see how deep the saucer is, and that is a clue about how old the cup and saucer generally is. The deep saucer, kind of a unique handle like this, generally means that it's older. This is actually made by Spode, and this is no older than 1837. It could actually be in the teens. 1820 to 1837, I think, was the dates. And there's the pattern number and the Spode mark in red under, on the glaze. And it has all this really beautiful gold work. So this is English, probably from about 1825 to 1830. Really interesting little handle with this pretty little leaf painted down the edge of the handle. And here is the saucer. I don't know that it's, yes, it has also has the Spode mark there on the edge too. So that I got at an estate sale about 5 years ago, and I think it was probably only about $5. You would not believe this estate sale. You just would never have expected from the outside of the house that it was jam-packed with antiques of all types. Furniture, textiles, china, everything. But it was the estate of a woman who was the only child and had inherited from both sides of her family, and the place was full. In fact, they had 2 estate sales there. This was the first one, and then they had one about a month later, and things had gotten cheaper, so that was nice. And then here is another item that I got at an estate sale about 7 years ago. I think this is an Amari pattern. I always kept thinking it might be tobacco leaf, but because of that big cobalt splotch there, but I think it's just an Amari pattern. There is no mark on this. This is English. I can tell. You can also see, and I'm going to go ahead and, sorry for the poor camera work, but you can see that this is also a fairly deep saucer. Not as deep as the other one, but this is also old. I would think that this is somewhere around 1850. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this over here. So while we're on this side of the table, I'm going to go ahead and show you the useful stuff I got. Went to an estate sale that was just like a, as the British call it, a tip. It was just a dumping ground. An older person had lived in there a long time and probably had not done anything, and I dug around in the cabinet and found these brand new items. So got great deals. Brand new boxes of Kleenex, 50 cents a piece, so 4 of those. And then a box of Q-tips, 50 cents for those as well. Okay, so let's get back to a couple of items. I'm going to go ahead and show you some jewelry, and then I'll get the last of the porcelain items. I went to a charity event that a friend of mine is the executive director for that charity, and they had a really neat thing. They had these heavily embossed velvet bags, and inside each one was a piece of jewelry, and you bought a chance, and then you put your hand into the pile, pulled out one thing. You didn't get to you know, feel them or see how heavy they were. Whatever you touched was the one you got. So here's what I got. This is a sterling silver, blue topaz, and onyx silver, sterling silver chain with these gemstones on it, and the chances were $40. So this was not cheap, but it was helping out a children's charity, and so it was definitely worth it. So that was a really nice item. I also got this. This is sterling silver with, I'm sure they're cubic zirconia, and here's kind of a close-up on this. It was 40. I got several. Kind of went crazy that night, but I got a few more items, but I wanted to show you a couple of them because they were so pretty. And this one shines. It's really pretty. Okay, and then I wanted to show you a couple of things that I got at estate sales that you might not have seen before. I go into an estate sale just a few years ago, got this bracelet. It was probably 2 years ago. It was hanging up with all the other costume jewelry. I had a look at it, and finally I was just realizing then about the marks. And here on this end there is 925, and like you've seen on other videos, it has this little safety catch. That is a nice indication of quality. So this is a sterling silver, and I'm sure it's cubic zirconia, bracelet with a gold wash on it, and that was $2. I also got this little watch, and it has this enameled, it's a pendant, so it's enameled with gold. And let me look at it real quick because I can't remember who made it. It says Caravelle. So I put that on a gold chain, and that will be really cute, and you'll have a watch too. And that was, I think, about $1. It was very cheap. I'd heard that these watches were starting to get really to be the in thing. I don't know if that's over with or not. Also got a pile of just stuff at a garage sale, and I knew that this was not did not have any precious metals in it, but I hated to pass it by. It says 1915 on it. It's just unique. I could see some woman getting this at a carnival or from a sweetheart back in 1915, and it came with a bundle of stuff. It didn't probably cost me 25 cents. And that little chain was on it. This was a gift from a friend and her husband. Such a nice gift. They are so sweet. And it was just overwhelming how nice a gift this and some other things were that they gave me, but they knew how much I love jewelry and antiques. This is a marcasite watch. You pin it to like your lapel or right above your chest, and it's upside down because you would look at it, pick it up and look at it that way. And this says 800 silver on it. This actually says 925 here and underneath. So I guess you could clip it on you as well, but it says 925 underneath here as well. But look how lovely that is. So I'm going to wear that on a dress. I've just been trying to figure out the right place to, outfit to wear it so it really stands out. But beautiful gift. And then let's move on to the last few pieces of china in my collection. I got this at an estate sale about 3 years ago, and I don't think they'd spend a lot of time figuring out what saucers went to what cups, because the cup was in the living room and the saucer was in the kitchen, and it was marked 2 and this was marked 1, so it was $3, but it was on the 50% off day, so I got it for $1.50. And this is H&Co, but it's in that ribbon there. It says Hohenzollern, which is the name of a dynasty in Germany, Austria area. So, pretty little Demitasse cup and saucer. This was the same situation, except this one had a little portrait scene on it, and this is kind of a copper luster on it. It is the same mark, and it was also, oh, this was $4, so it was $2 total. And I've got 2 of each of these. I got this at the same place that I got that brown chocolate pot with the portrait on it. Then lastly, these are my 2 Antiques Roadshow plates. So back in the 90s, when Antiques Roadshow was first starting in the U.S. and coming to American cities, on the first trip that it came to my city, I went down very early in the morning and was told to come back at a certain time and get in line. So myself and many other people came back and found out that the person who gave us those instructions had no idea what they were doing, and the line was already tremendously long. So I finally got in line, got to the China department, and had these looked at. If you remember, there is a gentleman with a British accent that does a lot of the porcelain appraisals on Antiques Roadshow for the U.S. He is the gentleman who appraised my china. He said that this, and it's not marked, that this is continental, likely French china, and you can, I'm going to see it. So these look like pansies. It's got a lot of this gold work around the edge, and this one is a rose. Same design, and so French, late 1800s, and that they were generally worth about $100 a plate, which was, I paid I think $90 a plate, and realized that I bought these in the 90s when the market was really, really strong. So they probably went down in value since then, but that is my brush with Antiques Roadshow. So I had a really fun day that day, and what's interesting is that they film a lot more episodes or appraisals than they actually ever put on TV, because I saw them filming different individuals, and I know that that item never made it to the broadcast. So hope you enjoyed everything. Please send me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this type of thing, I'd like your subscription, and press like if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.